Today we are doing a full Novo Nordisk stock analysis for the year 2025. We will look at Novo's fundamentals, valuation, and then finally price prediction and discuss whether Novo Nordisk, this stock, is a buy or a sell right now. This includes the impact of these blockbuster drugs from Novo Nordisk, which are Ozempic and Wegovy, and what this means for long-term investors like you and me. So without further ado, let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel once again. This is your friend Abhishek, but not a financial advisor, and today we are going to dig deeper into Novo Nordisk stock analysis as requested by you guys on my previous video, which by the way you can have a look in the icon above regarding Novo Nordisk. So let's get right into it. So at the time of recording this video, Novo Nordisk is currently trading at $52 with a P ratio of 13 exactly. Yes. And 5 days ago, Novo Nordisk stock fell when the quarterly earnings were released, and there's a reason for that, why it fell down. But we, and when I say we, means me and my Patreons, we bought the dip. We bought at $48, $49. But does that mean that is it too late to enter Novo Nordisk? Well, you will get the answer in this video. So stick until the end. Now, I have made a presentation for you guys which will explain each and every aspect of Novo Nordisk stock, which will help you guys in return to make an informed decision. So let's look at it. Okay guys, so here we are on the presentation. So as we can see, sales growth of 18% driven by both operating units, and by both operating units they mean reported therapy area sales and growth for first 6 months 2025 and reported geographical sales split for the first 6 months of 2025. But what is important to notice here is that the majority of their sales is coming from only two types of drugs. And there's a reason why we are pointing this out. GLP-1 diabetes and obesity care, okay? Means Wegovy and Ozempic sales. And if we see the reported therapy area sales and growth for first 6 months for 2025, we can see again on the right side, GLP-1 diabetes and insulin. Then obesity care, of course, grew by 125%, and the rare diseases are just 10% and 23%. Now, moving on to the next slide, rare diseases sales increased by 15%. But does that mean something? Well, that contributes to only 10 Danish krones billion, okay? So rare diseases sales increased by 15%, sales in US operations increased by 23%, sales in international operations increased by 10%. Yes, the growth is in double digits, but again, this is not the most effective segment for Novo Nordisk. Rare endocrine disorders sales increased by 49%. That's huge. Yes, that's huge. And US operations increased by 67%. And the international operations here increased by 30%. Now again, these are good numbers, guys. These are really good numbers. So these segments are growing for Novo Nordisk, but still they are not the biggest contributors to the top line. Rare blood disorders sales increased by only 6%. Yes, only 6%. US operations increased by 6% driven by increased Novo 7 and Alhemo sales, and international operations increased by 6% again. So now, this slide is quite important. US diabetes GLP-1 class growth slowing compared to prior years, and this is quite important to know when you're buying into Novo Nordisk, because we did see that GLP-1 is the main contributor for Novo Nordisk top line. So on the left side, we can see that Ozempic and GLP-1 has been slowing down, and on the right side we can see that the total monthly GLP-1 prescriptions had been stagnant over the past 2 years. So class growth is there, but around 15%. Now, US branded anti-obesity medication market expansion continues while GLP-1 compounding continues, and we know where they are pointing this towards. So we can see that the branded AOM is increasing. Yes, so we can see compounding Novo Nordisk, and this says that Novo Nordisk is focused on actively preventing unlawful and unsafe compounding. Cash channel expanded from 4% to 10%. CVS national template formulary conversion ongoing. MASH decision still expected. So this would be a big decision, because this will be against this compounding. And Wegovy supply available to meet demand in US. So they are hitting the US market, as we can see. Now, international operation sales growth of 19% driven by GLP-1, diabetes and obesity care. We can see again, these two are taking the main picture when we are talking about sales growth. Yeah, and this is for the first 6 months. So this is what we see, that US is one of their biggest markets. Now, don't get too much disappointed with that negativity, there is a high unmet need in diabetes and obesity, and low market penetration to date makes unlocking the market a key priority. So, of course, the class growth is not that huge compared to the prior years like we saw, okay? Last 2 years, it has been only 15%. But if you see this, we see less than 1% of the people with obesity globally are treated with branded AOMs. Only less than 1%. So just imagine what is the TAM for this. And we will see that in a moment, okay? So the quarterly earnings, just to summarize for you guys so that you have everything on one slide, you can pause the video and check this by yourself. So I just made this so that you guys can easily understand this. So total sales was around $154 billion DKK, which was USD $11.95 billion, which was a growth of 13% year over year and 18% at a constant exchange rate. This we have to consider, of course. Earnings DKK, and that was 33.45 billion, which was 29% year over year. Not that bad, not that shabby at all. Earnings per share grew by 33% year over year. And Wegovy sales, because Wegovy and Ozempic are, according to now what we saw, are most important. So that's why I have put this into this slide. Wegovy sales grew by 58% and 67% in Q2 alone. Okay, first half and then Q2 alone. And Ozempic sales, we saw, had slower growth at only 10% year over year. Now outlook 2025, just to summarize for you guys, sales growth revised to 8 to 14%. We will get onto that also. EBIT growth to 10 to 16%. And what does this mean for the company? Not that good, and that's the reason why the stock fell a few days ago. Previously 13 to 21% and 16 to 24% respectively. We will get on to that in a moment. Now, what the result tell us? So I have summarized this up for you guys so that you guys can get an idea. So highlights are, so strong top line and profit growth. Revenue rose by 13%, EPS up by 33%, which is huge. This is the best part, what I liked about the earnings, despite of the headwinds. So we know that there are few headwinds in the US market because of the current government, and all the medical companies, also the insurance companies, healthcare insurance companies, are facing a lot of headwinds. Wegovy remains a key driver, and with sales up 67%, reinforcing its dominant position in obesity. So no doubt, Novo Nordisk is leading the market and is the market leader in obesity care with Wegovy. Profitability remains strong with EBIT growing nearly 30%. Now there are some concerns, okay? This is quite important when we are buying into a company, when we are doing our stock analysis, we do have to see the concerns as well. So guidance downgrade. Sales and EBIT projections were slashed for the second time in 2025. Like I said in my previous video, that it was not done for the first time, but the second time, which signals softer momentum ahead. A lot of headwinds, to be honest. Market erosion from copies, compound GLP-1 products, and competition from other players like Eli Lilly are pressuring market share, no doubt. Okay, Ozempic's underperformance, diabetes treatment sales fell short of expectations, limiting upside, which we saw already. Slow down 10% year over year, not that good. Volatile market sentiment, the announcement triggered a sharp stock fell up to 30%, which we already saw. Okay, so these are some concerns, really important concerns. One concern I have not mentioned here, which is the change of CEO, because that might not be a concern. That might be actually a turnaround for the company. So let's see, would it be a story of turnaround or not? Anyways, so financial outlook, which I said, which we'll get onto in a moment. So the previous expectations were 13 to 21%, sales growth, but now they revised it and it's 18 to 14% only. Operating profit growth previously was expected to be at 16 to 24%, but now it's just 10 to 16%. And free cash flow is also projected to have a hit. Now, like I mentioned in my previous video, this is not the first time they have revised their outlook. This is the second time, but there's a reason behind that. Whatever happens for a reason, okay? In this case, it was the stepping down of the CEO. So we will talk about that in a moment, but weight loss for gain. So we can see that GLP-1 weight loss drug, this is a positive impact for this stock, Novo Nordisk. Currently, there is only a duopoly, Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. And there was a reason why Novo Nordisk stock popped 2 to 3%, not much, because Eli Lilly released its results and the effectiveness of their drug, and it was not that high as expected by the pharmaceutical industry. And that was the reason why Novo Nordisk actually popped up, because the results were in favor of Wegovy, Novo Nordisk. And that's why this could be a good reason also for Wegovy to maybe acquire more market share, because that took a hit, as we saw. Okay, so there is a competition, of course, but also there is only a duopoly until now. We do have compounded drugs, of course, and FDA has given a green flag to them until now. So let's see. Novo Nordisk is trying its best to stop this compounding. And then we have another great catalyst in favor of Novo Nordisk, which is Wegovy gets US nod for liver disease treatment. Now, this is a reason why Novo Nordisk could have huge tailwinds ahead. So weight management market summary, this tells us the TAM, the total addressable market until 2030, which is projected to be at $298 billion, growing at a compound annual growth rate of 9.94%. This is not that small, especially when you're talking about a duopoly only. Okay. Now, like I said, there is a concern, which I did not include in my concerns previously, because we don't know if this could be a turnaround story for Novo Nordisk. So, following a comprehensive search of internal and external candidates, Novo Nordisk appointed Mazer Mike Duster, I hope I pronounced it right, as its new president and CEO, which was fully endorsed by Novo Nordisk Foundation. Duster brings over a decade of senior leadership experience within the Novo Nordisk operations to his new role as a president and CEO. Since being appointed senior vice president of the division in 2013, he has overseen a network of 80 affiliates outside the United States, serving roughly 35 million patients. Under his stewardship, Novo's international operation sales more than doubled to about DKK $122 billion in 2024. His career at Novo Nordisk has also spanned leadership roles across multiple geographies, including heading the Southeast Asia Ocean commercial area from Malaysia and managing operations in the Middle East. So this leadership could give Novo Nordisk a boom and a good tailwind. And that's why they revised the outlook. It's not that bad that Novo Nordisk did revise their outlook when a new CEO comes in, because probably the new CEO would like to change strategies. We don't know yet. So of course, revising the outlook is not that normal, but it might be playing an underdog situation kind of cards. Okay, so he might be using an underdog kind of situation by lowering the expectations and then beating the expectations. So we don't know how it would play for Novo Nordisk, but I'm eager to see that. Now, coming on to the valuation, like we discussed. So if we consider currently, if we consider the annual free cash flow growth of 6%, so it has been growing by around 5.5%. But let's say the new CEO brings in some kick and the sales pick up. Ozempic, let's say, because of the results of the Eli Lilly, Ozempic takes some good amount of market share, and that's why I've taken 6% as my expectation. I'm not taking any exorbitant expectations of 10% or so. So I'm being realistic here. Okay, so 5 years into projections and diluted shares of growth, I did not reduce it. It's still minus 1%, and the dividend growth rate is of 22%. I've kept it the same, but price ratio I have taken only 25, where the average has been 29 to 30. So here I'm being conservative to see if with our conservative approach we can value Novo Nordisk at a fair value, and this gives us price target of $76, which is 51% upside potential from now. But now the stock is trading at 52, so it's not 51% now, so but nearly 50%. Let's say dividends paid will also impact our fair value, and the fair value would be around $55, which is now 5% above where the stock is trading right now, but so still under the fair value according to this model, with a compound annual growth rate of 12%, which is still beating the major indices. So this is what gives us an evaluation model for Novo Nordisk. And if we take another kind of evaluation model, which is price to earnings ratio, we reach a similar price target. So we can see that the earnings per estimate is to be in the next 5 years is to be at low 30. So I took somewhere between low and average, which was 33 Danish kroners. And if we convert it into USD, then we get 5.14 EPS US dollars. And if we multiply it by 15, so just 5 into 15, we get 75 US dollars, our price target, and similar to this model. So that's why it's not that bad, to be honest. And these are some conservative numbers. Of course, the market is not giving a higher multiple to these stocks, especially in the healthcare sector. But that doesn't mean that in the future, they might not get an expansion of the multiples. We don't know yet, okay? Healthcare sector is a sector which is really unpredictable. But what is predictable is that these companies are not going out of business. Novo Nordisk is one of the biggest companies in Europe. One of the biggest, okay? It was the biggest, but since it fell, the market cap has gone down. So these companies are not going out of business. So that's it, guys. That's about Novo Nordisk. I really hope you guys liked this video, crisp, and tried to keep it as short as possible, up to the point, no blabbering, no ranting. And if you guys would like to please support the channel, then please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't take much efforts to do so, and I would really appreciate if you guys would give this video a thumbs up. Really would appreciate that. And if you would like to watch more of these videos, then please don't hesitate to visit the channel and keep watching. But before that, you can find me in this video right here, one of the best underrated stocks which could double from here right now. Yes. So I'll meet you in the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and ciao.